Hello once again, this is Joanna. Welcome to your March readings. I have a couple of announcements, so this intro is going to be slightly longer, but there's good stuff here. Number one, first and foremost, thank you so much for watching, for coming back, for listening, for liking, for subscribing. For those of you who have booked a reading with me, thank you so much. You know who you are. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. March readings are different in a way that I have been asked to use completely different cards. I've never used them before. I actually bought them about 12-15 years ago when I was going through a pretty challenging time, and I kind of like them. I never in my life thought I was going to do these readings, certainly not on YouTube or live, or readings in general. And I was told very clearly to use these cards. Now, they have no numbers, they have no meanings, they have no symbology, they have nothing other than art in order to inspire certain emotion, to evoke certain feeling, and to prompt an intuition or intuitive prompting. In my case, it also starts the process of information flowing from my guides as far as feeling, hearing, and seeing and knowing. So I will show you these cards. They're called soul cards. There is soul cards. This is the first one, and I believe there's a soul cards 2. And you'll see, just like in this vision, there is nothing. There's no numbers. So the card will show up like this, and it'll evoke a certain feeling, image, words, and often a certain phrase that I will hear. So what I do with these cards is I hold them up to the screen so that you can look at them and see what emotion is evoked within you. Always listen to your intuition. Just because your interpretation is different than mine does not make mine or yours wrong or right. It simply means your information may be in addition to what I'm saying or instead of. So always listen to your intuition. I was very timid starting with these cards. I wasn't sure how I was going to like it. It's because there is no parameters. Mind you, I'm not one that fits within certain categories, so it's actually should have been no surprise to me that I would really like them, because the moment I started the first reading, I actually loved them. I loved the energy. I loved how it was just so easy for me to hear. It was just an instant flow. I wasn't bogged down by any numbers, any dates, any wording. There's nothing for me to interpret. It was just pure information flow. So I hope you like them. Please let me know, and maybe I will keep this for a while, or until my guide tells me to go and do something else, which is what he always does. And I just kind of go, okay, you know what you're doing, and I just follow. It's called trust. Now, the other thing is exciting, that on March 20th, I'm going to be debuting my very first radio show. That is March 20th, which is a Monday. It's going to happen every other Monday at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. This show is going to be live. It is going to be archived, and I will post this also on my YouTube channel, so you can also listen to it afterwards. When it's live, some of the sessions will have a component of me doing a reading live, so you can call in, or doing a reading with somebody else so that you guys can call in. On Monday, my first show, I will be interviewing a lady, a phenomenal soul. Her name is Stephanie, and we're going to talk everything inspirational, and also everything, not creation, yes, but manifesting. So we will talk about her story. She's just super funny and just amazing. And we will talk everything about manifesting. We might even take a caller or two live to give free readings or whatever it happens to be at the time. Point is, I would encourage you to listen to it, because the show is for you. When Spirit asked me to do the show, and I said, what the heck for? It was very clear to me that my work, however it's going to transpire, is something that you have been asking for, maybe not in a specific way, through me. And the show is all about empowering and inspiring people. And this is going to be done through messages from Spirit, information that I have gone through and interviewing different individuals who have inspiring stories. So what I would like to do is I would like to ask you to send me your ideas about what it is that you would like to see on the show. So send me an email. That information is down below for you, with a subject line, radio show idea. And every time I implement the idea live, I will mention your name unless you ask me not to. So since this is for you, it only makes sense that I include and involve you in this process as much as possible. And I also think it's going to be fun. It's going to be, certainly when I use your ideas and you hear it, I think it just creates a certain involvement and an inclusivity, and I always want to be as inclusive as possible. And I think that's all I have. I don't want to talk too much because it's already way longer intro than any other intro, but I hope you can appreciate what it is that I was trying to say. Of course, these are general readings. If you would like more readings, I have videos on Vimeo for very small fee, and some of those are projections for 6 months, some of those are projections for 3 months for relationships, and I have those links included down below as well. Without further ado, let's get started with March reading. Thank you so much for watching, for liking, as always. And if you would like to contact me privately, that information is also down below. And I will see you in a moment. Stay tuned. Welcome, Sagittarius, to your reading. This is going to be your general reading for this for the month of March. I have my 4 cards laid down. What I will do is I will, I'm just going to write something down. A message that I'm getting. What I have is 4 cards. What I will do is I will hold the card up to the screen so that you can get a visual and also see what prompts within you, what messages come to you, what feelings are evoked, what your intuition says about this card. And then I will go and interpret the card. But also remember, if your interpretation is different than mine, it's not right or wrong. It simply means that your intuition is giving you additional information to what I am saying, or your intuition is giving you information that is different than what I am saying. So take a look at both. Okay. So this is a good exercise for you to listen to your intuition. Always remember, when you see the card, the very first impression you get is typically your intuition. Anything after that tends to be our logic and our psyche, and often our fears. So be mindful of that. So when I was shuffling the cards, concentrating on your sign, and what I was just writing down, I hear the word receive. Let yourself receive. Let yourself receive the vision, the higher wisdom. And I see a vision of a person reaching out to the sky, if you will, and asking for help. So we'll see how this fits in with the cards and the rest of the message, but let yourself receive, and it seems to be connected to what you've been asking for. It seems to be quite prominent here. So let's go with the cards and see what we have. So the overall card or energy is depicted by this card, and I don't see it yet, but okay, here we go. Lots of yellow. There is some green, predominantly yellow. This color connects mostly with the 3rd chakra or your solar plexus. This is where your power is. This is where your feelings of feeling good enough, not feeling good enough. I hear the word safety, though that's traditionally connected to chakra number 1 and 2, but he's saying to me safety. This is the solar plexus, where your expression comes through, your creativity comes through. So there is something here connected with your solar plexus. And then I hear the word not good enough. Overall energy. This depicts overall energy. So see what comes up for you when you see this card. When I look at this card right here, it shows it's a tear or a tear. I'm going to turn this over. And when I look at this card, there's a couple of things that I hear. Let the tears fall, number 1. And number 2, turn away from that which no longer serves you. And I feel, even though this is a general message for overall energies for March, there's very distinct feeling that it is connected to something specific. So it seems to be a situational connection. The energy is connected to something situational. So something that you are dealing with, have been dealing with, or will be dealing with in the month of March. I also hear the words relationships. And then I hear the words again, let the tears fall. Some of you, and I'm trying to see how the vision that I got earlier is connecting to this, and he's asking me to wait. So I feel like he's going to tie it all in the end. Sometimes I'll get different pieces of information that make absolutely no sense to me, and then at the end he ties it all together almost like with a bow, and it's like, oh, now I get it. So again, overall energy for the month of March for the sign of Sagittarius seems to be letting go of your past. This letting go is very much associated with relationships, hardships, heartaches, significant others, pain around relationships, broken heart. Now, does it have to be romantic? Not necessarily. It could just mean love in general, connection to someone that you are deeply in love with or you deeply love, which could be a family member. And letting go of the energies that are connected to a broken heart, heartache, broken heart, something. So that's the overall energy. And I'm just going to stop harping at this because there's more cards to go through. So, no, he's not letting me finish. The month of March, there's a possibility for you to break away from something that has been haunting you most of your life. I see the number 7. So for some of you, this has been haunting you since you were 7 years old. Since from 7 years ago, you may be connected to a number 7 in a different way. 7 could be something that you connect with spiritually, or some other way. Could be a lucky number. But the pain that we're referring to, the broken heart, the broken heartache, it is connecting to 7, and for some of you is as young as 7 years old. So see how that connects, how that fits with you in the month of March. The next card is obstacles or opportunities that await you in the month of March. And again, I'm going to hold the card. You know what's interesting? There's 2 more signs that I have to do, and then I'm done. And there is, I believe, 72 cards in the deck, and the same cards seem to be returning over and over and over. So notice if your other signs has this card, because if that's the case, then that's a pretty substantial message in itself. So obstacle, opportunity. You're holding yourself back in the month of March. One of the things that will come up for you is, well, it's not just the month of March. I feel that you've been holding yourself back for quite some time. And for some of you, as long as you being 7 years old, or as long as 7 years ago, or as long as whatever however long it has been, you've been holding yourself back. And I'm trying to see here what this is connecting to. And for some of you, I hear the word parents. So again, like I said in a previous sign, most of our issues stem from our childhood, whether it be parents, whatever. We're not saying we're bad people. That's not what it's about. But through conditioning in the way we grew up, we end up forming a specific belief system that is in our subconscious. It is not something that's in our logical thinking. It is not something that it's in forefront of our mind. It is not something that we constantly think about, but it is something that we live and consequently attract certain situations to prove us right. So oftentimes we're not even aware of what our subconscious belief system is, because, well, 90% of our behaviors stem from subconscious belief system, and that is something that we, for the most part, have no awareness of. The only way we can find out, or one of the ways that we can find out pretty easily, is look at are patterns and behaviors, and notice what is repeating over and over, and that will give you a pretty good indication of what your internal dialogue is, or your belief system is, that draws to you certain circumstances. But going back to this card, as far as an obstacle, again, I hear the word let yourself go, or let it go. Let it go. And I hear you're stuck in the past. This is to do with a relationship. Again, this could be romantic. This could be relationship with a parent, could be relationship with a friend, best friend, whatever it may be. Let it go. Let it go. What I'm being shown is that whatever this is supposed to mean for you guys, the month of March certainly is about letting go. Hence the tear, right? And because of the colors of the card, I'm very much connecting to feelings around inadequacy. And these feelings around inadequacy have played a major part in your relationships in the past. And it seems that you are having a very hard time of letting go, not only of what happened as far as the relationships, but also more so actually than that is letting go of the foundation that has made you initially feel that you are not good enough. Then I hear the word dad. So for some of you, you maybe felt you were not good enough because for whatever reason your dad wasn't around, wasn't emotionally there, whatever it is. I mean, you know, we all get stuff from our parents or those around us. But something in March is going to come up, something substantial that's going to shake you up a bit. And I feel this is to do with relationships. And whether you are in a relationship or whether you are single, something is going to come up that is going to trigger certain things. But these things seem to be coming forward in order for you to have a clear recognition of it, and therefore allowing for the process of healing to begin. Because healing something that we know we don't understand, not even that we don't understand, healing something we don't know exists, it's pretty darn difficult. Once we become aware of our stuff, that is, awareness of it is the first step towards healing. Otherwise, it's like chasing ghosts. And I always say, good luck with that one, right? So there seems to be an obstacle that's going to come up in the month of March. And for some of you, it's going to be the beginning month of March, which is interesting. But I would encourage you to listen to it again towards the end of March to see how it fits in. Some of you are going to come up with some obstacles around jobs or in a job. There's going to be something that comes up for you that is job related. And I see this as, I'm looking away because I'm looking. I see this as an obstacle or a challenge that's going to be presented to you. And this challenge or obstacle is going to trigger some deeply rooted fears. And again, these fears seem to be around relationships. Now, we don't just have relationships, with loved ones, the ones we love as in romantic way. We have relationships with ourselves. We have relationships with our parents, with our coworkers, with our society, and we have relationships all over the place. So the fact that I'm saying it's going to trigger some things around relationships and it's in the workplace doesn't mean that it's going to be romantic, but it is something around relating to other people. And whatever that is, for those of you who this happens to be around work, it is triggers around how you think people see you, or fears around how you think people will perceive you based on what you think of yourself. And again, that's very deeply rooted. So if you have had challenges at work, or if something comes up at work where you're being challenged with a coworker, or you are in a situation and a whole bunch of things come up, again, try to recognize what is being triggered. And I said this message to another sign before you, so it would be interesting to see if this is one of your other signs that has a similar message. And I also hear the words, don't run away from it. So whatever comes up, acknowledge it for what it is. See if you can recognize it for what it is. And rather than trying to run away from it, try to understand it so that you can move towards healing it. Okay? Now, the next card is actions that you could take in order to help you mitigate the situation. So again, I'm going to hold the card up. You see a person holding a child, but the child is reaching high towards some light. Okay, there's a lot of trust with this. I feel it. There's a lot of trust. The parent equally as the child has trust. Now there seems to be a rose here with what looks like thorns. Okay, and that rose is pretty big. I'm going to tune in and see how this fits. Number one, what I hear here is trust yourself. Trust yourself enough to understand where you're going. I want to see if I can get it. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Trust yourself enough to get through it, knowing that in the end, everything is going to be okay. So I don't know what it is you're going to be presented with, whether in relationships, at work, or anywhere, in between. The word trust as an action for you, trust in yourself, is very, very, very important. I also hear the word you're protected. For those of you who don't believe in, angels, God, whatever you want to call it, it may mean nothing, or it actually may mean, something. But there is definitely, I hear the word divine protection. I don't often talk about these things because I try to remain very neutral without any specific connotation, but for whatever reason he wants me to say you're divinely protected and you're also divinely guided. And the divine guidance is about you trusting your inner promptings with regards to what actions you need to take in this particular situation. But trust in yourself is the most important aspect. Why? Because in the past you would have doubted. You would have doubted yourself, you would have doubted your abilities, you would have doubted the very aspect of you that is trying to come out and play. And it's that, I want to say it's that innocence. I mean, we all have certain innocence within ourselves, the inner child, the innocent child within. Some of us have, hidden that aspect of us way, way down the dungeon, and some of us haven't. But point is, trusting yourself here is going to be very important. Now, if you listen to this at the beginning of March, it's going to make no sense to you. Also, some of you, this message is way too, deep for you, and it's going to make no sense to you either. But I would encourage you to listen to this towards the end of the month, towards the end of March, because I'm pretty sure, I can pretty much guarantee it's going to make sense to you, at least on some level. The next card is outcome or advice. And he's asking me to go with advice. So again, I'm going to hold the card here. Notice the colors here. Yellow. Lots of yellow. Okay? It's a very similar color scheme, and they do not all have that. In this particular card, there is yellow, which connects to your solar plexus, but a lot of it is also... just laughing. A lot of it is also purple, which is, very spiritual. Intuition. I want to call it intuition, psychic, spiritual aspect, or spiritual vibration. Remember what I said a moment ago? You are divinely guided. You are divinely protected. Notice the person here. She's very vulnerable because she's naked. Naked is a sign of vulnerability, or at least that is our interpretation of it. Her hands are up as if to say, I'm open to whatever, and I'm not going to resist. Okay. What you also see here is that right behind her or up above her seems to be some kind of something that has wings. So call it angel, call it angelic, call it divine, call it whatever it is that you want to call it. It is, and I didn't see this card earlier when I said that you are divinely guided and divinely guided, that's the right word, and you're protected. So the fact that this card comes up as advice, and it has the depiction of angelic being or some kind of divinity aspect that is above you, that's pretty telling, and I always find that very interesting, and it's a huge confirmation for me too. Point is, as far as advice, surrender to the process. Allow your vulnerability to come forth. Now, many of us, and I'm saying us because I always want to include myself in this. Listen, just because I do this doesn't mean I haven't had to deal with my own stuff, or that I don't have to do it still, because I do. It's part of the learning process, and the more I work through my own stuff, the more I'm able to share guidance and advice for those of you who haven't gone through it yet. Point is that most of us feel uncomfortable being vulnerable. Well, that's just the way it is. But this is what Spirit told me a few weeks ago. It was something that came to me through meditation. It was so clear. It was clear as day. And the message was, vulnerability is the epitome of strength and power. Think about this. If you allow yourself to be vulnerable, if you allow yourself to be seen vulnerable, if you allow yourself to basically say, here I am, that's all there, that is epitome of strength. Because if you can do that, you can do anything. And this is metaphoric, but there's also deep truth with that. So the more you allow yourself to be vulnerable, knowing that you are divinely guided, the more you will allow yourself to feel powerful within, which will ultimately help you break the old patterns, break the old chains. And what I was talking about earlier about work situation, he's reminding me that some of you will have a situation where you will have some fears come up regarding how other people see you. And maybe you've been wearing a mask, metaphorically speaking, in order to be somebody, in order to be liked, recognized, approved, whatever it is that we are looking for in order to, to survive. Allowing yourself to be vulnerable is ultimately what will set you free. And I think I want to finish with that because I feel like I'm jumbling words right now. And then the more I do that, the more you won't listen because it won't make any sense. Again, I hear the word father. So for some of you, you have some unfinished business around a father figure. Does not mean he's a bad person. Could have been, but does not mean he's a bad person. It just means that some of you have a connection to a father that is fear-based, or at least when it comes to inadequacy, feeling inadequate. And that's actually quite common, right? So I think that's all I have. I see the number 0. 0 is like the Fool. It's a neutral energy. The neutral energy basically means that there is a possibility to start anything. The energy is ripe for basically anything. So that seems to be the energy of March. And the word receive. Okay, so the word that I received at the very beginning, receive. Again, he's asking me to point this out. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, and I'm not asking you obviously to take your clothes in front of other people as a metaphor. I'm not asking you to become, that vulnerable. But when you become vulnerable in the process, by trusting your guidance that is divinely guided, you are opening up yourself, or you are opening yourself up to receiving so much more from the universe. God, Buddha, energies, spirit, whatever you want to call it. That's the receive. When we open ourselves up to receive without trying to control everything, these hands in the air basically say, I'm letting things happen. This is when you truly, I feel, are going to gain true confidence in who you are. And remember, vulnerability is a sign of strength. And if you think about it, you let it sink deep within you. Vulnerability is the testament or the epitome of strength and power. Think about that and muse about it, contemplate on it, meditate on it, and see how that fits with you. And with that, I feel I'm going to end this. Of course, if this doesn't make sense to you, listen to your other signs, for it may offer you a greater picture. Thank you so much for watching, for liking, for subscribing, for sharing. Without you, I wouldn't do this. And every single month, I seem to be getting better and better with different cards. This deck is very unusual, so let me know if you like it. And of course, let me know how this fits with you if you like. I always appreciate and read all comments. And if you would like a private session, that information is down below. I will be absolutely honored. Thank you so much again. I wish you a wonderful month of March, and I look forward to seeing you again in April. Take care.